Hello, buddy. Welcome to a tropical update here. This is the wide view of the Atlantic right now. You can see what's currently going on in the water tropics right now. Of course, the main thing to watch, at least in the Atlantic basin wide, is Invest 96L here, which is in the Caribbean right there, the Eastern Caribbean, and has a high chance of formation into our and becoming our next tropical storm or a tropical depression strength system here. And formation chance for the next 48 hours is a high 80% chance. And formation chance for the next 5 days is high 90% chance of formation of becoming our next name system. Next name up on the Greek alphabet here for this Atlantic hurricane season would be Ida. So then we'll have Tropical Storm Ida in the Caribbean here, and it'll be the earliest formation chance for that name for the earliest 28th named tropical system here, and also be the first instance that the name Ida has been used for an Atlantic system here since they started using the Greek alphabet in 2005, which is the only other season besides 2020 that's ever used the Greek alphabet. So really interesting scenario here. Here's infrared imagery of the storm right now, and you can see the storm gradually intensifying here with time, just having more convection where the center of circulation maybe perhaps trying to get going. And here's water vapor imagery that gives a wider perspective of things. Just please keep a close eye on this system here for those of you guys in the Western Caribbean here. West Caribbean, just please keep a close eye on this system here. Some of the models are forecasting this storm to potentially become our next hurricane strength system here. I'm not going to say, it's 100% likely that this is going to become, our next hurricane here, but the models are picking up on it and thinking it may become a strong system here with time. So please keep a close eye on the system here. Don't panic about it. Just please keep a close eye on it, and just make sure you're aware of it, and so you're not caught off guard with it. Switching basins, let's take a look at the West Pacific right now. Of course, the main storm in town right now is Super Typhoon 22W, also known as Super Typhoon Ghoni, and also known as Super Typhoon ROLLY for the Philippines over there. And also we got Tropical Depression 23W, also named Atsani, which could potentially become the next potent or significant typhoon for the Philippines here, if the models are to be believed here. First off, let's start off with the weaker of the bunch here, Tropical Depression 23W, just to get it over with. Atsani, 25 knot system is about 30 miles per hour, which of course is firmly in Tropical Depression territory here. However, it is forecast to intensify into a 105 knot typhoon here, which would be a Category 3 strength storm equivalent. So 105 knots would be equivalent to about 105 miles per hour, which would be equivalent to a Category 3 major hurricane on the Atlantic side of things here. So we could be looking at another significant, perhaps, typhoon here for the Philippines, unfortunately. Just please keep an eye on this. Some of the models are kind of really widespread on the outcomes of this. Some take it away from the Philippines, maybe some take it towards Taiwan, some take it north of Taiwan here. Some take it directly into the Philippines here, so just please keep an eye on this ever-changing situation for this particular system. And here's satellite imagery of Tropical Depression Atsani right now. Not really the best looking tropical cyclone, of course, but that could easily change here. And the models do still predict this storm to reach typhoon intensity at least here. Here's water vapor imagery here, so it gives you a wider perspective of things here. And you can see the system, how it's trying to get going here, but not really getting too far here, fortunately, at this point. However, look to the left of your screen here, you see the main system to talk about here in the Western Caribbean. That, of course, is Super Typhoon 22W, also known as GONI and also known as ROLLY for the Philippines, because Progress also names these systems over there in the Philippines. And this is a 160 knot, not 160 miles an hour, 160 knot super typhoon we're talking about here, with the minimum pressure down to 895 millibars here. 895, that's incredible. That's insane to even say that in the Western West Pacific here. So 160 knots is equivalent to about 184 miles per hour, and which is also equivalent to about 296 kilometers an hour if you're using that. So again, 160 knots or 185 miles per hour, or also 296 kilometer an hour sustained winds we're talking about in this storm, which is easily, again, super typhoon status here, no doubt about that. But gusts even higher than that at 195 knots, which is just mind-blowing to say the least here. The storm is forecast, fortunately, to be weakening somewhat as it approaches land here, not by much though. It's still forecast to either come close to perhaps make landfall as a high-end Category 4 super typhoon here, equivalent storm, which is, again, you see there 135 knots, which is about 155 miles per hour. So a really significant storm here, and eventually we enter into the South China Sea here and gradually decrease in intensity here before eventually looks like making landfall over Vietnam as a moderate range tropical storm there, as a 55 knot storm. Here's a look at satellite imagery for Super Typhoon Ghoni right now, and you can see a classic, just classic textbook Category 5 typhoon. You see there in the earlier frames. The reason why you see the convection start to wane there and get a little bit cooler, or warmer, I should say, actually, than when it was originally is due to an eye wall different cycle, which is currently ongoing with the system. And if you want in layman's terms, what that means is that allows the system to weaken at least temporarily here in intensity here. However, that being said, after it completes an eye wall replacement cycle, usually the systems tend to bounce back up into this intensity that they were originally here, perhaps even slightly higher than what they were originally here. I'm not saying that's going to happen here with this system here. Again, it is forecast to be weakening as it approaches the Philippines here, but with an eye wall replacement cycle, with this system, we'll find out what happens with it. But usually, like I said, when they do occur, they weaken the storm at least temporarily here, unless external forces like wind shear, low cooler sea surface temperatures impact the system, which causes it to further weaken, which potentially could be on a cards here for this typhoon as it nears the Philippines. Here's wider vapor imagery, which gives you a wider perspective of things here. Again, a really just classic textbook super typhoon you're looking at here, the strongest super typhoon in terms of pressure since Super Typhoon Moranti in 2016, if you couldn't believe that. Again, this is an 895 millibar super typhoon. Again, what's at maximum 1 minute sustained winds of 160 knots, which is equivalent to 185 miles per hour, or 296 kilometers an hour here. So really incredible classic textbook super typhoon we're looking at here. And you can even see right there in the earlier frames there just how dry that eye is before it undergoes that eye wall replacement cycle. And even as it's going under that eye wall replacement cycle, the eye is still like really clear there, as you can see. Really kind of mind-blowing to still see the eye kind of that clear there, even as it's undergoing its eye wall replacement cycle. Hopefully it continues to weaken due to that eye wall replacement cycle, but of course we'll see what happens with it. Like I said, it is forecast to enter into a more unfavorable environment as it nears the Philippines here, in the effect that some heavy winds here could be trying to eat at the system here as it nears landfall over the Philippines here. But like I said, regardless whether it makes landfall, Cat 5, low on Cat 5, high on Cat 4, does not matter. Does not mean you're not going to see significant impacts from the system here. Just because weakened from a Cat 5 to a Cat 4 does not mean you need to stop paying attention to the system, and it's not nothing worth your time here. This is still, again, a significant super typhoon we're talking about here, the strongest super typhoon in terms of pressure here we've seen since 2005, not 2005, and since 2016, I mean here, for this part of the world here, which was of course the last time was Super Typhoon Moranti in 2016. And here's reservoir imagery of Super Typhoon Ghoni right now. And again, this classic textbooks super typhoon there. You can see the tricolor wobbles later on in the loop there, which is why that system kind of wobbles there. You see the eye kind of wobble in the last few frames there is due to that eye wall replacement cycle occurring. That usually is kind of what happens with intense systems like this one is, like Goni is. Storms tend to kind of wobble their eye like that, really erratically when they undergo eye wall replacement cycles like that. Again, a really textbook strong typhoon we're looking at right now. And I really want to stress before I get going here, just how strong the system is here. Please, if your local officials are telling you to evacuate here ahead of this system and you have time to do so, please do it here. This is a serious typhoon we're talking about here. This isn't, just your run-of-the-mill, maybe Cat 1, Cat 2 typhoon you see over there in the Philippines pretty much on every single year there. This is a Category 5, catastrophic Category 5 super typhoon we're talking about in the Western Pacific right now. The strongest storm this basin has seen since 2016 with Typhoon Moranti. So please keep a close eye on the system here. If we are under mandatory evacuation, if your local officials are telling you to evacuate, you do so here. This is not a Halloween joke here. This is not nothing to play around with whatsoever here. Regardless, like I said, whether it weakens down to a Category 4 or not here still does not set aside how this is a really serious and life-threatening typhoon potentially here. So I urge you, please take this typhoon seriously here. I cannot stress that enough. I see too many people, say oh, it's a weakening storm, or oh, it's a Cat 4, it's not a Cat 5, so that means I don't really have to worry at all about a storm of this magnitude. Don't do that with this system here. You really don't want to do that. If we do that, it's gonna be a really grave and perhaps costly mistake we'll make if we do end up staying if we're in the direct path of this super typhoon. And that's pretty much going to be about it for this topical update here. I already said pretty much what really needs to be said for the West Pacific right now. But in just basic summary, in the Philippines, please keep a close eye on Super Typhoon Ghoni. If you're in the path of it and you're under evacuation, please evacuate. Your local officials know what they're doing. They're not doing it for the fun of it. They're not doing it to make your life harder. I know there's an ongoing pandemic right now, but this is a really serious and life-threatening system here, and just please take it seriously. For those of you guys on the Atlantic side of things, please keep an eye on Invest 96L as it continues to develop here over the Caribbean here, which potentially could become our next named system. If the models are to be believed, it could become perhaps our next named hurricane, but I don't want to go too far that yet. I don't want to go that far just yet, I mean. So just please keep a close eye on this system as it also develops over the next few days here. So that's pretty much going to be about it for this topical update here. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below. And if you want to know what links that I used for this topical update here, look down in the description below. I have all links down below of what sites that I used for this topical update here, so you get the information yourself if you want to do that as well. So that's pretty much going to be about it for this topical update here. I know it's a little bit on the long side of things, but I really wanted to stress to the people of the Philippines here how serious Super Typhoon Ghoni is right now. So again, that's pretty much going to be about it for this topical update here. Hope everybody has a great day wherever you guys are. Please stay safe, and till then, see you guys in the next video. Peace.